Uh, all right, we're just getting our racers set up. Kibetha was having some slight technical internet and PC issues. I guess she says her PC is an old man, and I know exactly what that feels like, because I used to have a PC that was an old man, and all it did was chug.
Potato for life.
Yep. It's not a very good potato.
Yeah. So as for us commentators, today we are 2. The list on the stream announces 3 people, but we are actually 2. Lenofis and me, Leonis, not to confuse anyone.
Double Drop, I suspect, will be joining us in a little bit. He might be sleeping or doing other things at... let's see, he's not... I think he's at Central Time, so it's still 9 in the morning for him.
Alright.
Uh-oh.
So the runners are ready.
Going...
the race is about to start anytime.
Yep, and I see bonsai strats going on Kibetha's end.
Oh.
She's going all out.
Bonsai versus the casual Ace, Bill, Cal, and Dan set up on Poorscythe green.
For those unaware, Kibetha chose Bonsai as her Black Mage's name in a great race against me during the group stage when that match was restreamed on RPG Limit Break, and her Black Mage got like 370 hit points to finish the game. It was absurd. She had the run.
Oh, and here we go. The race started right off the bat. So, Mr. Lenofis, would you mind explaining what they are doing right now?
They are avoiding blue-haired NPC who always blocks the item shop. But aside from that, they're actually doing a little thing called the equipment glitch. Which, by now, you probably know, you take one item, it transforms into another, magical things happen, and we have lots of money. And nothing in this game is broken whatsoever.
Yeah, totally not broken, totally legit. I mean, of course, from a hammer, we can create some knight's armor. Who doesn't create piece of equipment out of a hammer? I mean,
well,
MacGyver
a hammer yeah, you would use a hammer to forge new weapons and armor, so it's not really out of that, not that strange.
Yeah, pretty much.
But all kidding aside, there's a very useful, it's actually 2 different glitches, but it's 2 aspects of the same glitch, but it's very useful. Based on your cursor position, if you set it to memory, you can actually create a weapon from an armor or an armor from a weapon based on your position. It's very useful, very broken, and we get lots of good stuff throughout the game with this glitch. Yes, this tourney is still going on. However, there are only 2 matches left. The one you are seeing right now and the Grand Finals, which will be facing Cruel against the winner of this match. That will be a best of 3 matchup.
Yep. Meaning
that'll be a good 5-hour day.
Yeah. So meaning that unlike the previous editions of that tournament, whoever pulls out 2 wins out of the best of 3 wins it all. So there won't be any rematch in case the winner of that match wins against the winner's bracket winner.
Mm-hmm. And Kibetha having just a little bit of an issue with that encounter there. Finally has her leather cap, which will just turn into our very not useful judgment staff, which, we're just bopping Garland over the head with them. They're not that strong of a weapon.
Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, Poorscythe is done with Garland over a time of 2:35. Pretty standard. Knowing the level of execution of that runner, Poorscythe is currently the console world record holder if we were to compare over the hardware, and I think he has the third best time overall on the leaderboard. And Kibetha is running over an emulator, so emulators are allowed to run this game, and she possesses the current, is it seventh time or sixth time over the leaderboard? Something along those lines. So do expect a high level caliber kind of run.
Yep, and just to go with your point, Seiya is the current world record holder on emulation with a 122.50. Poorscythe does indeed have the third best time with that 125.11. And Kibetha is 7th with the 126.06. So these two runners have very, very close personal best times.
Yeah. I mean, at that point, anyone being under the hour and 30 minutes mark could statistically win this kind of tournament, because up to that point, it's always a matter of execution and not being lost throughout all the maps and all the dungeons. Then once you hit the sub 130, it's all about the RNG and maintaining the level of execution. So you have a 130 something?
It's a 130.07.
Yeah, so even being just over the milestone is already a proof that RNG is all that at that point.
Yeah, RNG has not been kind to me. It just will not let me cut the 130.
Yeah, not yet.
Not yet. Speaking of RNG, Poorscythe is having some pretty decent RNG. He's already halfway to Provoka, but as I say that, here come the battles.
Yeah, I mean, at this very point, there can also be some sort of divergence into the path taken, because in terms of encounter rate, the forest tiles are the one that gives the most percentage. So you really want to avoid those tiles, but it's almost filled with forest. So what you could do is walk down the marsh tiles to get through like 2 patches of forest and then plain grass, but it's like a little detour against going straight line. Right, so Poorscythe is about to hit those pirates because we want their boat. So obviously we are the Warriors of Light, so we can just put some options onto any kind of vehicles on the world. So if anyone opposes it, then we just judgment staff over them. Really handy.
Judgment Staff casts a level 8 spell, Flare. Very powerful spell.
Yeah.
And we have
casual
that
level.
We have that 2 minutes into the run.
Yeah, casual level 8 black magic spell, 3 minutes in. How more powerful could you
not get his with more intelligence. Poorscythe did not get his leather shield drop, so he went to the armor shop and bought one. He'll be using that for a mage staff later.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Kibetha didn't get her leather shield drop either, so she might go for the shopping session. And on the left side, Poorscythe just went across the sea thanks to the boat, falling onto a very unpleasant kind of encounter, which is a pack of 2 big guys and 4 Sahagin. So the very unpleasant feeling that comes from that fight is that the Sahagins are quite high on speed and evasion, so running from them is quite the difficult task. And you have the big guys, which possess the stare kind of ability capable of paralyzing you, and that can just turn the course of a race. So as you can see, Kibetha is already catching up, and she is, well, now falling back behind because she's opting to get some early gold needles, the item that cures petrification, while Poorscythe didn't go for it.
That time will be Set aside though, because Poorscythe will also be picking up gold needles later. So this 12-13 seconds that Kibetha just spent is going to be offset.
Yeah, in terms of optimization, if you really want to go safe, there's like 2 moments in the run you want to do that. So either you take the option that Kibetha took, going right in the village to get them, or on the way back from Matoya's cave after you get the Mystic Key, because you're already near the village. Going back from Astos isn't that much of a wise decision because you're losing time in resetting the RNG instead of just going to the boat. But oh well. So they are coming across more forest tiles in order to join the next location we have to look into. In the very south of the area, which is a set of caves. We call them the Marsh Cave. So what is in there, Lenofis, that takes the runner's attention?
Well, we have to go in there because if we did this game properly, there is a king in a castle north of this cave. He's like, "Oh, Astos stole my crown and he buried it in the Marsh Cave. Go get it for me." So these runners are actually just going to skip that part and just go straight to the Marsh Cave and go find that crown that belongs to the king, the Elven King.
But there's a catch to that chest, right?
Oh, there's a big catch. A very dangerous catch if you're playing the NES version. How about some wizards? They hit very, very hard, and even at this juncture, they can still one-shot your party if you're not careful. Poorscythe wisely going to heal up before then. His Black Mage could still take a dirt nap. Hopefully that's not the case. Oh, he's only got 2. Okay, not a problem. He can just whack him and be done with it. He will Judgment Staff and be done with it.
Yeah, that's how you deal with those kind of wizards. Meanwhile, Kibetha is also reaching the pack of Peace Demons guarding the chest. She's opting for the very same strat. That's the most efficient one, arguably speaking. For casual play, if you ever come across those marsh caves and already being level 8, you could be able to afford the Thundara spell from the Elfheim's village with your Black Mage, so you could get rid of those Peace Demons with the Thunder spell, because this is the element they are not resistant against.
That also depends on if your intelligence is high enough to do that much damage.
Yep.
Usually safer to do the Judgment Staff at this early juncture.
Yep.
And we will see if they do Sage's Staff strats. Oh, that's a 7 undead ambush for Kibetha. That is going to eat up a lot of time if she does not get stun locked.
Yep. And that might turn ugly depending how the zombies are actually handling the whole group. Because a thing that can happen with those zombies, they have some sort of paralysis touch, if we were to transpose into the FF lore. And if your whole party is paralyzed, the game doesn't game over. You have to deal with that kind of status ailment until it fades away. But there's one thing is that those zombies can stack that status ailment. So even if you were to break out of it, you could be put back to paralysis. So that could waste all of your time and eventually renders your HP to 0 and then hit the real game over. So that's something you don't.
Meanwhile, Poorscythe got to the king, and oh no, we've been betrayed. He's actually Astos. Oh, we never saw this coming.
Yeah, well, technically we didn't get to talk to him, so we couldn't know what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
We were in the shadow.
Oh, that's a really low damage roll on this fighter. But it should still kill him.
Oh yeah, I mean, the ideal scenario is that if the death spell is coming in, you want to hope for it to go onto the warrior, because you really want the 2 mages to get their cast, so they can deal most of the damage, and then your thief would just bonk the boss to death. And I think both Poorscythe and Kibetha got lucky and didn't get any death spell. Ever.
Assos didn't cast. Poorscythe said I didn't see if he actually went yet on Kibetha's side though.
Oh, are you?
But
behind
it doesn't
me?
matter. No, I just wasn't paying attention to Assos on Kibetha's side.
Right, so the time difference between the two might be somewhere along 20 seconds, 25. It's not that much. Anything can happen, especially over the RNG, like I said, onto the world maps or the dungeons. Quality of encounters is what you want to get. So the better quality those encounters are, the most likely you are to flee or to just nuke them all up and then just not waste your time. So we will see, because that chunk of a segment is one of those where a lead could just go back and forth in a blink of an eye.
Well, after all, this is everyone's favorite trading sequence where you have to navigate all forest tiles, long distances back and forth just to get the, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 items?
Yeah.
You get the crystal eye. Yeah, you get, you actually get the crown, which isn't that much of an issue, but it gives you the crystal eye, which you have to go all the way back to Matoya's cave for, just to get the jolt tonic, which you have to go all the way back to the Elven Castle just to get the Mystic Key, which you have to go all the way back to Cornelia Castle to get the nitro powder.
Right, so this is where we're going to see that the lead will actually trade in favor of Kibetha, because she went to get the gold needles before Poorscythe, and he chose to go now to pick them up. So now Kibetha is back in the lead thanks to her encounterless boat session. Meanwhile, Poorscythe is getting one encounter, an ambush with a shark. So the shark can be up to interpretation. Either you want to flee them if you are lucky enough, or you queue some physical attacks in case those flee queues don't get in, because it cannot get in, and physical power will be enough to take that shark down. Oh, nice emote in chat for the shark.
Yep, get the Jaws emotes out. That's a good one.
Yep, like it. So yes, so as Nofis said, we just traded the Crystal Eye for a Jolt Tonic because, little story, Matoya is kind of a seeress, if we would consider her like that. She's not a witch. She's more like a sort of a medium, a sort of a high seeress kind of thing. So Hastos, the Dark Elf, just stole her eye whenever she was sleeping. Her actual crystal eye, it's not just a crystal ball, it's a real crystal eye. And as she appears to manipulate herbs and stuff, she could do a Jolt Tonic to just wake up the prince of the Elfheim's castle. That's one detail that we don't know at this point because we never went to the castle to talk to the prince. And thanks to that trade, we now have the Jolt Tonic, and we are gonna rush our way through the boat towards the castle. So Kibetha is still in the lead by maybe 20 seconds or so. So as you can see, RNG can make everything in that.
Yep. And Kibetha's going to get a 17:30 Mystic Key time. This is not bad for a Mystic Key time.
Not bad at all. Both runners are on top of their game today. I mean, the outcome is pretty, not crucial, but it's pretty high stake over there. It's a place for the grand finale, so... I mean, to my perspective, I would have called that match the real finale, to my liking. I was kind of expecting those two being the remaining ones, because it's basically, in terms of rankings, it's the first and second best runner in the game. I don't think there was anyone between the two that was competing at the time. Well, now there's Soma, but Soma is already out of the tournament like two phases ago, and he got his PB way after. So, yeah, in terms of ranking, I was expecting that kind of match to happen, but not for that specific format.
Yep, this game can be a very cruel mistress. If it does not want you to proceed, you will not proceed.
Yeah,
that is why
in
that's why
Kibetha's
I've been out of the
case, it would be a
tournament.
cruel mister.
Yeah.
Right, so on Poorscythe's screen, he's operating a new glitch that we totally eluded from Kibetha's side. We just got a Mithril Hammer, so the upgraded version of the hammer, and this time we're not turning it into Knight's Armor, but Thieves' Armlet. So these are raising the defense, but also the agility, so we can now flee pretty much everything that will go into our way without struggling too much. Just see on Kibetha's screen, she runs up on some Sahagins, she's operating some fleas, and she should be out of the battle soon. And what she got from the castle that Poorscythe is into, she got the Mithril Knife and the Nitro Powder. So the Nitro Powder will do a story trigger. Meanwhile, the Mithril Knife will be served a certain purpose later for a glitch.
And just to ease the suspense, it's going to turn into the Black Robe. It is a piece of armor you find in the Flying Fortress, which we'll find much later in the game. What it does is a very nice item cast. It casts Blizzara, which is only going to be useful in 2 dungeons, but the chances of seeing that encounter in either of those 2 dungeons are really high. So it's a massive time save.
So Kibetha successfully... Oh, sorry, you were onto something.
I was just going to say that the time save of getting it outweighs the 3 seconds it takes to not get it.
Mm-hmm. That's true. So as I was saying, Kibetha and Poorscythe just successfully reached the dwarves' hideout, if I was to say anything about that location. So they went to a specific dwarf called Nerek, and that Nerek is the perfect NPC for us to get some troubles out. It appears that that guy can turn that Nitro Powder into a nice explosive item, which will make a whole lot of earth, land to fall into the sea, creating a canal, and then operating some magic for not making their hideout being flooded. Because, yeah, dwarves are secretly magicians. They can make a whole place waterproof. So even if you were to blow up a canal next to their hideout, nothing would happen. That would be quite handy over Chaos when he goes Tsunami. Nope! We just erected a bridge. You cannot pass. And 0 damage.
If only.
If only. I mean, it's Final Fantasy. We should expect anything.
Mm-hmm. Kibetha is now selling that extra saber she picked up in Cornelia Castle. I think she wasn't trying to get that, but the saber will just mess up her equipment glitching, so she just wants to get rid of it now.
Yep. So the glitch she just did was using 2 pieces of items that she collected on the way. So first, the leather shield she bought in Provoca created the Mage Staff, which will be a very neat item that any mages can use because it will trigger the level 2 kind of fire spell. So it's the equivalent of Fire. And then, thanks to the wrist item that they bought in Melmond, they could create the Barbarian Sword. And the very catchy thing about that Barbarian Sword is that it's an exclusive item from the PSP version. You cannot get it onto the GBA version, the PSX version, nor the NES version. And I think that sword, while being exclusive, is the most powerful one in terms of raw stat. So I don't know if you have the intel over that, Lenofus.
Oh, it's the best sword. It's not even close. The Barbarian Sword, just to put it in perspective. So everyone knows the Masamune from this game. It is by far the best weapon in the NES version. It is the best in PlayStation. It has been trumped by the Lightbringer and the Ragnarok, I believe, in the Ultimate Weapon from Game Boy Advance.
Mm-hmm.
However, all of those are dwarfed compared to the Barbarian Sword. Just for numbers, Masamune has an attack power, I believe, of 60, but it's probably wrong because we went over this the last time, so I'm just going to get that number real quick. Where is my weapon? Alright, so Masamune has an attack power of 56, I'm sorry, 56, and has a hit rate of 50. The Barbarian Sword has an attack power of 125.
Wow. So that's 2.5
it also,
times.
Yep, and it also gives a strength bonus by itself, so it appears to have an attack power of 134. That is almost 3 times the strength of the original best weapon in the game.
Wow.
It is insanely powerful. And
yeah,
this weapon,
so now we have...
this weapon is dropped from the very strongest version of the optional boss added to this game.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not even half an hour in, and we have that weapon.
Yep. So now we have more options regarding random encounters. So we still have the Judgment Staff, which will be very useful against the Peace Demons because they have a very high magic defense. So that kind of staff will always take them down. We also have the Major Staff, which casts Fire Aura. So if you were to encounter some very, very tricky zombies or ghosts, you could throw that at them and that would make them grill down. And you now have the most powerful sword in the game to get rid of anything coming your way.
And by the way, if you miss that vampire fight, you... Wow. Yeah,
well,
we just one-shot... We're going to one-shot most regular enemies and some bosses with this sword.
Yeah, it's like, imagine Twilight, the remake. Edward Cullen is coming at the Warrior of Lights, and by just swinging your sword, you would kill him. Like, hi Edward, bye Edward. Rest in peace once again.
Now, this is something worth pointing out. If either runner had tried to do the ship 15-tile puzzle game, they could have gotten an item called the Emergency Exit, which would have let them escape this dungeon. It is a consumable exit spell.
Oh, now you're bringing the puzzle. I thought you were going to not talk about it.
Well, it's a great time saver to have, and I like to point out when runners could save time.
Yep.
Just for reference, the item is a 1 in 6 chance, so it's very unreliable to get, which is probably why most people don't go for it. However,
I mean, 1 in 6 chance isn't that low of a chance compared to trying to get Warmick to appear.
Yeah. And if you're going for a specific item on the 3rd tier, that's like a 1 in 15 chance to get one item that you want. So those are still not terrible odds. You just don't get them.
Right, so the whole purpose of the 2 runners to go inside the Cavern of Earth was to first dispose from the vampire to get their hands onto the ruby star, the star ruby. Much English. For trading it to this little rocky guy who appears to love eating those for breakfast, lunch, dinner, anything, any kind of moment in the day he would eat those stones. So trading that stone to the giant will clear the path, and Kibetha just enter the next area lying beyond that cave, which is the Sage's Cave, hiding an NPC called Sada, who holds the Earth Rod, that crucial item that will unlock the second part of the Cavern of Earth dungeon.
Yep, and the only reason why you'd even think to come back here, if you proceeded past the vampire's floor, there is a giant stone plate blocking your exit. And it is emitting an evil aura. Ooh. So, not knowing what to do, you just got to go through this giant's cave, speak to the giant titan, give him a ruby so we can munch on it, I guess.
Yeah.
And,
and what
like,
happens next is, depending on the version, I pretty much think that on the NES version you just have a whole lot of text to clear and it goes out. On PSX and GBA, you just go onto the left side. He's disappearing onto the left side, so it's actually quicker. And on PSP, you just go left and then go all the way up to get outside. So you wish it would go faster, but no.
Well, I think the only reason why the developers did that is because they saw that what the players saw, like he's just going left through a wall, and they're like, "Wait, this isn't logical." So they changed it. He's still going through a wall. Yeah, he's still going. He's still going through the wall. But yeah, you just don't see him going through the wall when he goes up. But he still goes through the wall.
Right, so Kibetha is already near back of the entrance of the Earth, the Cavern of Earth, so she's gonna take the second dip into it. So hopefully, her time is quite the time. She's already back to the dungeon under 30 minutes. Not that bad. Poorscythe is not that far away. Still anyone's match for the moment.
Mm-hmm. But both of these runners are looking at a sub 30, well, potentially a sub 33 lich time, which is really good.
Yeah. Anything along the lines of 32 to 35 is, even if 35 is the worst case scenario, is still a good chance at having a final time of 130 or under. And in order to get that run from A to Z, both runners are taking a safety save when it comes to the third basement of the area, mainly because from now on until the end of the dungeon, certain enemies are willing to make your life worse than it was before. So the Pisco demons can just roast you to death with their punch, because they are very much like that.
Yep, despite our advanced armor, these enemies can still kill you either by raw damage or, in some cases, status elements like petrification or death touch or something like that. And Kibetha is just getting so many Pisco demons. She's not in danger, but this could get harrowing, as Poorscythe is catching up. Oh, and then there's that 5 undead ambush. Never mind. And that is something else that the PSP version does compared to the other versions. If you're playing the NES or the Origins version, PlayStation, you have to manually go into your item inventory and use the key items that you need to progress. In this version, nope, just talk to the item. It disappears for you. As long as you have what you need to proceed. Oh, Poorscythe getting back blocked there. Wow.
So there's one detail I'm just watching right there. Her HPs are quite high.
Yeah.
Such an early state.
I think Bonsai strats are coming out in full force today too.
Mm-hmm. So she's taking a safety save here because that boss incoming, Lich, has an opening move that can happen if our speed stat isn't that high compared to his, called Blizzara, the tier 2 ice spell, which can just wipe your whole party out. So, well, she got lucky there.
Yep.
She got the 2 cycle.
Her fighter would have survived if at full health. Thief maybe, but her 2 mages would have been dead.
Yep. So she disposed from Lich in a time of 30 something on a very high 32 minutes. So she is quite on the pace. Meanwhile, Poorscythe is encountering some major RNG heavy momentums throughout the whole second dip. He's not that far behind, but Kibetha is taking an option here, being done with Lich the first.
Poorscythe made up a decent amount of time on the 4th floor. He's now getting 2 Lich.
Meanwhile, Kibetha is going back to her boat. So, if she wanted to try the puzzle game, she could still do it because there's another place where that item that makes you teleport out of an entire dungeon could be used for the Cavern of Ice, the next dungeon we'll get into, which can be a little bit tricky, but if you have that item and you manage your way to get through the grinding session, you could just use it and be freed from the place forever. And oh, Poorscythe got Blizzard to death. So that will cost him a little bit of a time compared to Kibetha, who got it first try. So this is the bad luck potential that I talked about like not so long ago. Lich has a very high speed stat, so the turn order can be all kind of messy. And if he ever gets his turn before our party, he can just wreck it all. But thankfully, Poorscythe got it second try, so we will be able to proceed through the next part of the game, which is quite the breather because nothing major can happen until they hit the Cavern of Ice.
What makes Lich so dangerous is that he has a 75% chance to cast magic any given turn, and his first turn in that spell order is Blizzara. And since this route does not have any elemental protection, we will die. So it's better to safety save.
And so you say that at this point that we don't have any elemental protection. Would there be a way to get a piece of equipment with a certain magic defense stat or something?
There is one item that was actually routed out that we could have right now called the Dragon's Armor, which has fire, ice, and lightning elements of protection. But since it's deemed, it's just deemed not worth picking up, it just costs more time than it saves.
Oh, is it the item you can glitch from a weapon you buy in Elfheim?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
But, it's been deemed not worth the time to pick up because the time it would save is negligible. It only counts for Lich, basically. So it's better to just safety save. Later on, though, we have the option to go and in the volcano and pick up some flame armor, which will give us some ice elemental protection. We can fight doubles dragons and get some fire elemental protection from an ice armor. Good luck.
Nice.
And then we have our all-powerful ribbon, which protects against all elements.
That's nice to hear. Well, thankfully, ribbon will be an item that we'll get across and we'll take. So we're just gonna wait for that moment to happen. So meanwhile, Poorscythe is going to the next village, having a bit of a time difference over Kibetha. He's like a good minute and a half behind, I would say, maybe a little bit more. But anything can happen in Cavern of Ice, so I won't advance too much onto the outcome. But Kibetha is really going ham right now. The next village is the Crescent Village. That name comes from the fact that the village is located near a sort of a lake area that goes just like a crescent. So that's why you got the name. And inside that village, we're gonna pick a certain number of things that will get in a handy way. So Poorscythe is still not there. So there's an ambush.
9 monster ambush. That is the worst.
Yep. I mean, it could be set up for the grinding if he got like a death or some poison status on the main. Well, the warrior is now dead. So that's one character out of the way already. So that's not too bad.
Well, depending on how his next 10 encounters go, this could really work in his favor.
Yep. So he just sold a bunch of items that aren't useful anymore to buy ethers, main MP source. He bought a mithril glove and a mithril axe. So now he's gonna go over another grinding session. He's gonna create black garbs from the mithril axe that only the ninja and the warrior can actually influence over. And
real quickly on Kibetha's side, she had that Pisco Demon, the Mind Flayer ambush, and her white mage took a dirt nap. So now her grinding is going to suffer in the sense that it's going to throw it off a little bit. But
did she kill the Mind Flayers instead of fleeing them? Yeah. Oh, okay.
She had to because 2 of her characters were sunlocked, 1 was dead. She only had the thief standing.
Okie dokie. So on Poorscythe's screen, so we were just discussing about the glitch he did. So thanks to the mithril axe, he created the black garbs. So there are piece of equipment with high agility and I think intelligence for the mages. I don't. Just for raising the potential to flee and having early turns for every kind of fight. He also glitched the Lust Dagger from is it the mithril gloves?
Yes.
So the Lust Dagger is another very interesting kind of weapon. It is an exclusive one from the PSP version, so you can only get it if you were to fight one specific version of the very, very finals bonus boss of the game. And that dagger is very interesting because not only it raises power, so the strength of anyone's attack, but it also grants an agility boost of +10. So not only you are putting gear that raises your agility evasion for getting more chances of fleeing, your dagger is actually raising that chance even more. So that's why we are equipping. And I don't know if both runners did it, but they could also create the black ropes that Lenophis talked about not so long ago from the mithril dagger, and these black ropes will be able to be used as an item for casting the equivalent of Blazara.
Pretty sure I saw Kibetha glitch the rope. I don't know if Poorscythe did. And Kibetha choosing to play it close to the chest and not healing her mages. She is still in danger of getting a random encounter while doing this grind, and she could potentially wipe from this.
Yeah. So this grinding session was set up in a very specific way. We got rid of both our main physical attackers, the warrior and the thief, in order to get the maximum experience output that the mages could get, because this game, as for many RPGs or JRPGs, the experience is working over the principle of the more people over the battlefield, the less experience they will get because it's equally shared amongst them. So what you want is to have just 2 characters on the battlefield to get half of the experience for each. And that way we are leveling up fast. And also because those mages will be the most crucial party members for quite a while until the attackers are getting the upper hand back. And the main goal of that grinding session is to get to level 18, or if you play it a bit riskier but faster, you could go up to the level 17, get 1 more battles, and count upon the RNG to give you the rest of the experience through some random encounters or the next location encounters.
Poorscythe nearly got stunlocked by those specters. Kibetha managed to get her way out. And to your point, Kibetha got her mages up to 17. So we will see what happens in ordeals.
That's the strategy I used to do. And that's also the reason why she only revived the thief, because you also want to take the chance to raise your thief's levels to get more HPs. And by having just 3 characters on the field is better of a chance to get more experience onto him than if it was with the warrior lives as well.
Oh, that's really bad. His black mage is gonna die now, unless he tries to.
Yeah, I would potion.
Okay.
So, waiting for the Thundara, which doesn't want to show up. That Evil Eye is full on physical. Oh, and another gaze. Well, I think another gaze is coming. I think it's the petrification one. Oh, Thundara. Never mind.
That works.
That works. So this is how you want to set up your battle. If none of your main attackers are dead, you really want to defend with everyone and get the Thundara in, because that would kill both your attackers while making your mages still being up and alone to just take on the fiend. Oh, and Kibetha is now having the access to the airship, because that Levistone she got from the Cavern of Ice was a sort of a magnet to make that airship coming from the underground. She did not take a safety save there. Okay.
Worked in her favor, since she didn't get into a battle till well after the danger point.
Yeah. So the legend says that in that desert lies a worm. And that worm can do Earthquake, which is an instant kill kind of ability. But she didn't get it, so...
Yep, there's also that small 1 in 64 chance of a Tyrannosaur in that small section.
Oh yeah. And if you ever encounter that one, kill it.
Please.
Kill it!
We have already passed our point for the 1 in 64 encounter in the Earth Cave that we're still looking for.
Mm-hmm.
This tournament is still missing 2 of the rarest encounters: the Tyrannosaur and the Earth Elemental on Witch's Floor in the Earth Cave.
Wait, were the Iron Golems ever spotted in the tournament?
Yes. We have seen them 3 times, I believe.
Oh, really?
Once by Starcrawl at the end of January, back in group stages.
Okay.
And then, just twice, I'm sorry. And then Stravaris at the end of March.
Okay.
During double elimination.
Oh, nice to hear. Okay. So only 2 rare encounters seen. So.
Yep. We're just missing Tyrannosaur, which has it's 1 giant spot on the world map surrounding the Mirage Tower. And
and a bit of a tile on the forest next to that desert.
Yep. So there's overall 6 chances to see Tyrannosaur, but since it's a 1 in 64, you're probably not going to see it. You do have a better chance of seeing Warmback than you do Tyrannosaur, statistically speaking, because of that.
Yeah, that's true. So Poorscythe finally exited the Cavern of Ice, so he's gonna take all the path to retrieve the airship. Meanwhile, Kibetha entered the Citadel of Trials, and that place has been set up to hold a treasure that will be very, very pleasant for a specific NPC. And there are also two items that we took on the way: the healing staff and the gauntlet. So the healing staff is an item that can cast cure all in a battle, and the gauntlets are the Thundara version. Anytime you use the gauntlets as an item, you can cast Thundara, the level 2 thunder spell. Kibetha opting for farming a little bit of dragon zombies because she didn't get that much encounter on the way, and she needs to hit the level 19. Why? Because that unlocks another tier kind of spells for both mages, especially the white mage. And she's now done. In under 50 minutes. That's quite good.
She has opened up quite the lead now on Poorscythe. We're going to need some spectacular RNG on Poorscythe's side to catch up. Now, he did not safety save, and he got that encounter. It's just a Desert Beretta, but that could have been a Sandworm.
Yeah, both are choosing not to save. I don't know if they are watching the Restream channel or not, but if I were them, due to a casualty I got to get through, I would have safety saved, but some people are luckier than some others.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've personally experienced that game over before myself during the tournament last year. It's not fun. That was a good 12-minute time loss.
Yeah, so that kind of death really has that thing when it comes to puzzle runners, apparently. Right, and so the reason behind the Rat's Tail hold into the Citadel of Trials is that Bahamut, the NPC that we are talking to on Kibetha's screen, is looking for proof of bravery, and that tail appears to be quite enough of a proof for being granted. Oh, that was a door. To being granted a job upgrade. So now our warrior is now a knight, the thief is now a ninja, and both mages are now wizards.
The class change is only helpful for a couple of reasons. It actually gets us access to more equipment that we otherwise could not equip. Not really an issue for some things, but just for a couple of items it is. But more importantly, it gives us the ability to get more magic, which we will end up needing very soon, actually. One of them is going to be the teleport spell, which the Black Wizard can learn. And the other one is Hilara. That one's not a class change requirement, but it's useful to have. But the class change also has an added benefit where your stats go up more per level as your class change, as opposed to your regular class. But at least that's from the NES version. I don't know if that carried over or not. Sorry.
I don't. So before getting to those magics, Kibetha took a quick stop around a desert to access a caravan, which was holding a bottled fairy, and also to buy some Giant's Tonic. So Giant's Tonic are items that raises the current max HP by 200. And that will be used for the very final boss of the run, because it can hit quite an amount of damage. Poorscythe is done with the Citadel of Trials, so yeah. The time difference between the two is maintained to some extent. So we will see what the next dungeons have in store for them.
I'm pretty sure both runners are doing the Gulg next. Oh, then there's that Sandworm on Poorscythe's side. Fortunately, not an ambush. Not an ambush.
Not an ambush. Ah, lucky those players to get an ambush.
Not a stupid question. This is Final Fantasy 1 for the PlayStation Portable, the PSP, otherwise as it's known. This game has been released on several consoles, NES, which most of us are familiar with, re-released as a port for the PlayStation as Origins, re-released again for the Nintendo Game Boy Advance as Final Fantasy Dawn of Souls. It actually has a bunch of other ports, one for the MSX2, the Wonder Swan Color, which all of these remakes are based off of. PSP, it's been re-released on Wii Virtual Console, Wii U Virtual Console. It's on mobile, it's on Android, it's on iOS, it's basically
on
everywhere.
Nintendo DS as well, and prior in the timeline, there was also the Famicom version, which is known for having this glitch involving the Cornelius Castle stairs. The most exciting run of all the versions combined. The stairs person run.
Yeah, that's a good 7-minute watch.
I know, right? Do you want to have a quick video moment? Just go for that 7-minute category.
No.
You're not going to be disappointed.
And it's only about a 60% chance that you'll actually finish the game, too, by the way.
Also. Just like any kind of runs involving a credit warp.
Yep. Alright, Poorscythe now has his bottled fairy. He's going to go to Gaia now and release that fairy. Kibetha has made her way through Gulg. She's going to face Malareth, also known as Carrie in the NES version. I like that translation better. I like Carrie. Bring her back!
I mean, Carrie is also a mistranslation from the goddess, the Hindu goddess, which is Kali.
Oh, she had like 15 HP left. Oh, wow. No. Bad damage roll on that knight's side. And Poorscythe got NPC trolled.
Nice troll. I mean, NPCs are there for that, right?
Yep.
I mean, Cornelia, Provoca, here, Lufenia, Earth Cave, Waterfall Cavern.
Oh my goodness, they're everywhere.
Even the Chaos Shrine inside the Garland's room is filled with bats. So you could even get stuck there.
Yep. And that was a beep. I believe we are going to have someone joining us in just a moment.
Oh, I wonder who that is.
Well, that's not important right now. For now, Kibetha is not warping out of Gulg. Poorscythe just entering, so Poorscythe is a good 2 minutes behind, I think I want to say. And Kibetha is going to do her final round of shopping. She's going to pick up her haste spell, which is a really nice spell, only used in a couple battles, and more importantly, the teleport spell, which also only has a couple uses.
And she didn't afford the haste spell on her thief, though she could have. So I know that she doesn't go for that type of strat because it's only for the final boss, and it's only saving like up from 1 to 3 turns. But if you ever come across the scenario where your ninja is high leveled enough to get haste, I would advise any runners to take that double haste possibility, because on the final fight you want to spend some time buffing your party, and you want to apply haste to 3 different party members, so she will have only 1 haste available, so she's gonna get like 1 character at a time, though 2 haste would get through 2 characters at a time, and she would only need 1 more instead of 2 more. So that would save some turns and some time, but she doesn't get comfortable with it, so she doesn't go with it.
Yep. Question in chat, what's the story behind the glitches never being patched out? We don't know.
I might have an explanation, but that I think it's not solid enough. That particular glitch is not PSP exclusive. It's also present in the GBA version, but in the GBA version it doesn't do anything. So they might have worked with the same kind of coding system that was present in the GBA and put it over PSP with a certain enhancement with the cursor memory. So I don't know. That might be from there, but I wouldn't see the logic behind a patch for a game that went out on a UMD system, because that game never been released on the PSN store. You could get it from a PS TV or on your PS Vita, but it wouldn't be patchable.
Yep, sadly, this specific version of the game is not available on the PlayStation Network. You can get the Japanese version, I believe, on the PSN store.
Can you? Because I know it's the anniversary version, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can get. You can definitely get Origins on PlayStation Network. I've searched for that many times.
Oh yeah, the sick.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the reason behind you were saying something. Sorry.
I was just going to point out that Kibetha picked up the diamond gloves by accident. I don't think she meant to do that.
Yeah. And I was about to point out that the Japanese version not only hasn't been patched over that glitch, but somehow, with some sort of possibility, the anniversary version possesses a sort of a code, which when enabled reduces the number of encounters you can get throughout a run. So not only there were never any patch for that game, but they even added an exclusive mode onto the Japanese anniversary version. So I don't know what was the idea behind it.
It's hard to say.
To ease in the casual play lifestyle.
Oh, Kibetha got that encounter. We didn't mention this at all, but the Sunken Shrine has 3 unique unrunnable encounters.
Mm-hmm.
Kibetha has seen, I think this is her first one, with the Sahagins. There's 2 others. There's a water elemental encounter, which if they're alone, if they're not grouped up with the water naga, you can't run from that. There's also ghosts.
Mm-hmm.
And she is going full-blown survival vest strats. Okay, I see what she's doing.
Yep. So
she's putting 4 on her mages, so they outspeed her thief and fighter for haste reasons, which will become coming into play later. Words are hard.
And that glitch has been made possible thanks to the light axe that Kibetha just took. So there are 2 possible locations for getting that light axe. One on this floor and one on the eastern 2nd floor. And the main difference between those 2 locations is that the one Kibetha went for possessed a set of spike tiles. So those tiles will always trigger a random encounter, no matter what. And on the other room, there are no spike. So it's a matter of, with equivalent RNG, it would be faster to go for that eastern 2nd floor light axe solely upon the fact that there are no spike tiles, so less movement. And thanks to that, she could glitch the survival vest, which raises defense and the agility. She also went for a double lordly robe, which is an item you can glitch thanks to what? I think it's from a weapon.
The lordly robe comes from the healing staff.
Oh, the healing. Okay. And that lordly robe raises intelligence. Oh!
The problem with 4F light axe is, yes, there's no spike tile in front of the chest, but the 4th floor has like the most ridiculous unrunnable encounter. So you're really taking a big risk by running all the way across there, because you tend to see a lot of ghosts and stuff.
Yeah, that's what I just mentioned, that if you only were to compare with equivalent RNG, that would be maybe a little bit faster, but not that faster, maybe 1 or 2 frames faster, maybe.
It's about 5 steps.
Okay. so it's not that huge. But over the course of a race, if you were to get the same RNG as your opponent, you would probably try and think about getting the optimal setup.
Well, Poorscythe has converted me. I started to pick up the fourth light axe too.
Yeah, I started to do it whenever Sheen Breaker reminded us that it was possible to do, but we would need to investigate about it. So for those who are not aware, that extra third voice that's coming from the Canada land is Double Drop. So it's now 2 Canadians and 1 French guy commentating.
I'm not from Canada, thank you.
My VPN says I'm from Gotham City.
Wow, Lenov, you should be from Canada, I swear.
I'm from southern Canada, thank you. It's called the state of Minnesota.
So it's still Canada if it's southern Canada. I'm not wrong, right? It's a very hot kind of atmosphere, Canada.
Well, you would have thought I was in Canada yesterday with how much snow we got. It just will not go away.
Oh.
Old Man Winter just does not want to let go.
Right, so one thing I didn't mention...
it was 28 degrees in Canada, so...
Oh, wow. So there was one thing I noticed, which is absurdly insane for now, is that Kibetha's pace is just insane. She got her Rosetta Stone in 58 minutes, and she's now tackling the Waterfall Cavern in the 1 hour and 5 minute kind of time frame. So that's quite a fast-paced run, worth a 127 or even better.
Yeah, I'd say she's on 127 to 128 pace.
Yep.
Poorscythe is probably sitting around the 130-ish pace at the moment.
Yeah, unfortunately, Poorscythe, they just had some really unfortunate encounter luck for the last 20 minutes. It's not been that great.
If there's one thing that I've seen throughout this entire tournament, is that Poorscythe has a knack for coming back from a significant deficit late in the race.
This is true. This is true.
If anyone can do it, it's him.
Yep, and that robot was in a great spot for Kibetha. That is the ideal spot.
And producing the best 2 lines of the game, Buzzworld. Right, so Kibetha just retrieved with that second chest a ribbon, and that's practically the funniest glitch to do, because you go from a ribbon to a weapon that will help you glitch another set of ribbon, but anywhere else but his intended position. So you take that ribbon, you glitch how you call it? Gigantax?
Oh, yep, that's the Gigantax.
Oh, that's an unrunnable.
Yeah, I think Kibetha's on autopilot. Yeah, she can't run from that.
Yeah, it's basically like the only example the run has of reverse engineering via equipment glitch. So basically, each items that you glitch are paired. So whenever you glitch an item from a specific item, if you were to do it the other way around, you would get the opposite item. Each item is linked. And so we don't care about the Gigantax. So basically all we do is we take the ribbon and glitch the Gigantax so that we can duplicate the ribbons. It's the only instance of us actually doing it.
Yeah. Because eventually we just have more ribbons, but not just over the head slot. And a little detail for anyone who wants to perform that glitch. Not all the items could go onto the shield slot, for example, because I think I saw Kibetha glitching the ribbons onto the knights and the ninja's head slot. The ribbon is one of those items that won't mess with the game whenever it's glitched onto that particular slot, because no matter what, if Kibetha were to parry an enemy's attack, the ribbon will provide the animation of the parry. whereas some other items, if glitched onto that slot, such as the Black Garb, whenever one character will want to parry an attack, it will soft lock. So there are like 4 items in the game total, which won't mess with the game. So there's the ribbon, the lordly robes, the survival vest, and the feathered. If I'm
Were
not,
there any other items, or is it just the 4?
I think it's just those 4. I never investigated for others, so I might be wrong.
Okay.
It's just the 4 that we're aware of. There may be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now Kibetha
Alright,
is
Kibetha-
taking a huge walk south to reach Lufenia, which, thanks to her previous language learning moment in Melmond, thanks to Dr. Une, she will be able to decipher what those priests and priestesses are actually saying. And thanks to that, she will retrieve the chime.
Looking at the times, it looked like Kibetha
Wow.
gained another minute inside Waterfall compared to Poorscythe as well. So Poorscythe has just lost another minute in that Waterfall.
Oh,
Yeah, she's had no unrunnables on her way to Lufenia. She's just had low encounter rate in general for this stretch. And Poorscythe having high encounter rate in the waterfall, which is standard, and had a really bad robot position.
so that actually asserts what I've just stated at the very beginning of the run. Those 2 runners are extremely fast when it comes to menus. They are quite talented to it. You just saw Poorscythe doing the menu in just a matter of a second. And the main factor engaging the course of the race is the RNG. So far, Poorscythe was having a decent fare of RNG, same for Kibetha, and it all turned off whenever Poorscythe hit the Cavern of Earth second dip segment. And sometimes that time difference is unsalvageable.
Alright, now some may remember Kibetha's last match against Cruel in the Winners Finals, where Kibetha got 2 blue dragons in a row and 3 out of 5, which was
Wow.
an insane encounter stretch.
Yeah.
The blue dragon, the blue dragon as a random encounter is a 1 in 64.
I think someone calculated the odd of that happening. It was less than 1%.
Wasn't that you double drop? Or was that Game
I think
Boy
it was
F9,
Game
maybe?
Boy F9. I could retrieve that information. Just give me some time. Do- Right, for the record,
Yep,
chance of
Poorscythe.
getting 3 blue dragons in 5 encounters is a 1 chance into 466. So that's
Yep,
quite
that's
low.
absurd.
No, wait, it was wrong. Oh no, it's a 1 chance in 1,339.
Kibetha should run Earthbound and get the Sword of King drops. And the various other 1 in 20, or 1 in, is it 1 in 128 or 1 in 256? I think it's 1 in 128 drops. So like the KC Bath, the Sword of Kings, and I think there's one other. However, we have not really seen a 1 in 64 notable encounter so far this run.
Yep. So changes for
It is one.
Tyrannosaurus are still up for both runners. We will see if it happens.
Let's see. We only have a couple of notable encounters left that we could try for. We have Warmech coming up. We still have, yep, as noted, the Tyrannosaur, and then we have the Iron Golem in the final dungeon.
So, if the chat would be so kind and start spamming the Pray the RNG emote, or the Warmick emote if there's any possibilities of doing that, because we will need it for the Warmick.
I wish there was a Warmack hype emote in the chat.
Everybody, please call 1-800-RNG.
All right, Kibetha not healing up. She's going YOLO. She's gonna do it. Oh.
Still nope. Well, she still has an occasion to get it after the fight, because there are quite steps to take until the teleporter, so anything can happen.
This is true. However, since it's a map transition, her encounter rate gets reset, so she may not even get into a battle. We're still hoping.
Yeah, I mean, I did that when I was helping Renames getting his last match for the group phase, and I was waiting for him. I said, well, I will wait for you until I get a Warmick or something like that, and I got it in like 2 battles after that. So that was quite a lot.
All right, now let's take a look at our HP totals here. Oh wow, Poorscythe.
Getting another ambush.
But real quickly, on Kibetha's side, her ninja has 250 HP, and her black mage, I didn't catch it. It's like in the 220, 240 range or something like that. She may not
that would
have
mean that
Giant's Tongue.
Bonsai is once again proving a point.
Yep.
Being named like that,
meanwhile,
the HPs.
And meanwhile, on Poorscythe's side, his black mage is only at 180. His is not looking good.
Well, it's not that low. I saw some people having some black mages with 150 or 150 or even 140 something. So it's not that low, but not that high.
And
so
all right,
no Warmick hype. Oh yeah,
no
so no
Warmick
and no Tyrannosaur for Kibetha. Wow, it is a. So Poorscythe is our last chance.
And Poorscythe is going to need an amazing Chaos Shrine to catch up.
He does. Kibetha's going to enter at 116. This is an incredible time.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's still on about 127 pace. We'll see how the shrine goes, but
it could still turn. That Chaos Shrine is pure evil.
It is for the very first set of floors. After that, whenever you hit the Lich floor, it's kind of a race for who will get the least encounters on the way.
World record is a 122, so unfortunately there will not be world record hype for this race today.
Nope. And the most funny thing is that the world record doesn't even use the ongoing strategies that are currently the new metas. So there might be something to do about it. But that requires an intense session of grinding, and that's not.
Oh, Neo Chu, why? Why?
Why are you so mean? Oh, preemptive on Dark Wizard and Dark Fighter. Nice. Okay, Kibetha hitting the Death Eye in 1:16:41. Impressed.
She just had
genuinely impressed.
Just had just the one purple worm unrunnable so far. She's doing really good.
Mm-hmm. One purple unrunnable and one
11 minutes to get from Death Eye to Chaos. So she's roughly on pace for a high 120s.
To answer a question in chat, there are actually a couple of NES tournaments going on. There's a randomizer league tournament, which I think is just wrapping up. There might be a new season of that. And for vanilla game, I don't know if there is going to be a tournament. That'd be a fun thing to organize, but not that I would do it. I don't speedrun NES version. My best time is like 8 hours. I have no business speedrunning that game. I don't do step counter manipulation. I do I'm bad strats.
Banes.
Alright, no War Mech type on Poorscythe's side. He might still get a Tyrannosaur. Very low encounter rate on the desert tiles.
So, in all fairness, I think Double Drop didn't do his job for Kibetha's screen. He didn't unleash all his dragons. There were not many dragons to my taste. Double, how do you explain that?
There were enough dragons, they just didn't ambush him.
Wow, did you keep them for yourself?
Oh, there's that unrunnable Earth Elemental encounter for Kibetha.
Yep.
Earth Elementals are weak to fire, however, she probably does not feel comfortable with her White Mage doing enough damage with the Mage's Staff, which is why she's using the Judgment Staff.
Yeah, with the Mage's Staff, it's kind of a damage roll. Whereas with the Black Mage strat, Emphasis strat, it would be using Fire, and that would be enough thanks to the intelligence to kill them with Fire. So in terms of HPs, now her ninja is close to the 300 mark, which is good, and her Black Mage is now at 240. So her Black Mage is now totally out of any kind of range from Chaos special attack. So she might want not to Giant Tonic that one. And if I were her, probably I would gamble it fully and not Giant Tonicking anyone.
Given the lead that she has, I wouldn't risk it.
Yeah, and I would just like to point out how her ninja I would just like to point out how her ninja almost one-shotted Lich there. Almost.
Yeah. Almost. I mean, we almost witnessed a one-shot kill on Marilith earlier on, so why not a one-shot kill on Lich?
Alright, Poorscythe, unfortunately, is getting some unrunnable encounters. They're not kind, and this lead is opening up a little bit for Kibetha. I should say opening up a little bit more.
Right. So Kibetha will reach the second Marilith fight. Meanwhile, Poorscythe is disposing from the Death Eye with an interesting haste strat.
That's the second time I've seen him use haste. I think he's trying to gamble to not move his cursor, and it's not paying off, unfortunately.
Yep. And Kibetha is now done with Marilith, so she's on to the next floor, which is the Kraken-related floor. So you will see or encounter all the Sunken Shrine-related enemies, such as those water elementals, unrollable still.
You guys remember that black robe from an hour ago? That's where it comes into play.
Yay! That was totally not useless to talk about it that soon.
And that black robe, that saved my skin, or it actually just saved some time. Plenty of times. It's pretty much the only reason why I even bothered to pick it up. And it took a little while for it to catch on, but other runners have seen that it is it's a good strat. So they have opted to pick it up. Or if they're doing Black Mage strat, they would actually pick up Lazara. The actual spell. And Kibetha has lost a... Wow, the puns! They might sort their inventory early, but they do have a lot of I guess it depends, but yeah, they depend. They more or less depend on the items being on the positions where they're going to be. So they'll sell items to put the items where they want in their inventory. This way,
Yeah,
there's
it's
no inventory management.
yeah, it's mainly inventory management. The other kind of route that exists as of currently, with the emphasis on the black mage, that route could be using an item storage just to make all the curative items to be on top for getting quick reach of them, because we don't use any other items than this ones. So it really depends on the run you're using at the moment.
In the black mage route, you just sort your inventory early, and then you never have to touch it ever again.
Yep. So that would be the main difference between the route we are witnessing with those two runners and that famous other route, which uses magics and practically no items except for some ethers and some potions. So Kibetha is arriving on the very final floor, which is a no encounter floor, so she can take all the time she wants to heal everyone and to perform the very last glitch of the run, which consists into glitching the golden staff from the gauntlets that we retrieved into the Citadel of Trial for raising the intelligence. She's gonna put a loaded robe onto the shield slot and a ribbon onto the armor slots to raise the intelligence while lowering the speed to a point where the white wizard will always act after the final boss. She also put a ribbon onto the black mage and a barbarian sword onto the black mage for an extra source of damage.
At this point, Poorscythe needs a white from Kibetha to win.
I mean, Chaos could go berserk onto the white mage.
Whoa!
Oh, I think
that's
I
a bad
think-
move.
that's bad. I think Poorscythe forgot where he was on the map. And yes, as chat points out, this is not a no encounter floor if you're playing the original Famicom version. The encounters were taken out in every subsequent version.
Yeah, the famous port, which only is interesting because of the stair glitch. Who cares about going to the final dungeon for guessing that the final stage is with encounters when you can just walk through it?
The stair glitch wasn't actually found until sometime in the last few years. So I don't-
Really?
It wasn't. It definitely wasn't known way back then. Because this
Okay.
game was released in 1987. This is a 31-year-old game now.
Wow.
And Kibetha, she's got 2 hasted up. She's almost in
she-
hold A to win mode.
Yeah, she decided to Giant Tonic her ninja. It's a wise move. Not gonna lie. I would have been maybe here. I would have tried and gamble it, because if anything, I could have used the healing staff and hope for the black mage to act before chaos and having the extra healing for surviving tsunami and cyclone, something like that. But now she's in press X, so it's only a matter of seconds now before
Black Mage
she.
is gonna die, but she's won.
Nah, he's not gonna die.
I think
Nah,
Black Mage will
it's
die.
not gonna die.
Oh, barely.
Very, very low roll.
Called it.
Oh, that was a very low cyclone roll.
Yep. Should have died.
Should have died, yes.
But didn't. But didn't. Alright. The Earthquake, that's a free turn. So she's very close to a kill now. It's all a matter of seconds. So let's see how it will go. Maybe an extra round or two.
Wow, getting all skills from Chaos. This is not a good
Yeah.
fight.
This is the very first one in the tournament where I see Chaos going back to Blaze. So, and that's the last hit.
Oh, and that is it.
That's it, with an official SRL time of 1:27:22, a 1:27:21 real time.
Interestingly
That's
enough, as
quite
Kibetha
interesting.
moves on to the grand finals to play Cruel, the time that she just got is faster than Cruel's PB. So this will be an interesting grand finals.
Not only that, according to the SRL bot, she has improved her personal best, but that's just a race time by
Yep.
22 seconds. So GG to Kibetha. The rematch is on.
The rematch is on. That's for sure. That's gonna be promising.
For those curious, Cruel was the one that knocked Kibetha into the losers bracket. So there might be a there might be a little bit of a vengeance factor here.
Oh yeah, I think I heard Kibetha saying that if she were to go back up against Cruel, she would secretly put some things up to reduce his chances of winning, something like that.
So
I don't know what it is, but
double bonsai,
oh, a whole
double
lot
bonsai
of
strats.
Ooh, bonsai for the thief and the black mage for entering the HPs. That could be a strat.
Oh, there's never a bad pun, chat.
To answer Frico in the chat, no. So the grand finale has been reformatted to a best of 3 match. So what happens is that if Kibetha were to win 2 of those 3 matches, she would be declared the whole winner of the tournament. She wouldn't have to rematch Cruel after that. So that's a rule we went with when we created that edition of the tournament. So it's anyone's win now. There's no rematch if the losers bracket were to win. So this is why it's going to be very interesting, because it's an all or nothing kind of grand. And worth to say that Kibetha's losers final time is now the fastest time of the whole tournament. So that's quite the performance.
Hi guys.
And joining us now is Kibetha.
And Poorscythe.
Hello everyone.
Hey Kibetha, congratulations.
Thank you.
That was, I have to admit, that was an impressive. Like, I realized very late your pace when you were onto the Rosetta Stone. I was like, wait, did she got at 58 minutes Rosetta Stone and she was into the waterfall caverns around the 1 hour and 5 minutes? I was like, how did I never see that comment?
I was chasing PB until about Mariliv, and then I was like, yeah, no.
Oh, yeah. We thought that
Chaos Shrine's not going to let me have it.
Yeah, you were chasing something else than your opponent. That we saw.
GG, Poorscythe. I don't know what happened. So... It happened like around Lich. I noticed that you were suddenly 3 minutes behind me. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, so Poorscythe just finished his race onto a time of 1:30 minutes and 49 seconds. That's not quite the shabby time. If it was against me again, I would have lost. So that's quite the good time. So what happens into the run is that for quite the moment, up until let's say the Jolt Tonic, you were trading lead. So you Kibetha first lost the lead whenever you went for the early gold needles. Then you gained it back when Poorscythe went for his after Hastos. And after that, it all came down to the second dip into the Cavern of Earth. You've got a very clean dungeon, whereas Poorscythe just struggled to go through the third basement and maybe the second. So
Oh.
it was like a matter of a minute, and he also took a death onto Lich, which you didn't.
Oh no. I'm so sorry,
Exactly that.
Poorscythe. You
And,
deserve to win this. I was
yeah.
playing terribly.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I'm actually really not upset with that run because I felt like I played pretty well given what I was given the RNG. I mean, I died
Minus
to
the
RNG.
Blizzara.
Minus the end.
Yeah, that's stupid. Well, the thing is, I was looking away from my screen at Merilith, which is why I walked the wrong way. I always do
you
something
had to do it
stupid like
twice.
this. I did her twice because I was like looking at the restream screen away from it, and I forgot where I was, so I walked
That's
the wrong
why
direction.
you don't want to watch any other screen but yourself.
I was gonna say,
The-
all I use is
Death Eye
my
Haste
splits to like compare against the
Yeah.
other person.
Death Eye Haste was like 3 times in like 3 different battles in a row where I just forgot to put him back on defend. So
I thought you just intentionally didn't put him on defend, and you were kind of like hoping to save
I was
time
just-
with cursor movements, and it
I-
backfired on you.
I was holding X. I was holding X, and I forgot that he was on defend for like 2 or 3 battles before I finally fixed it. So I always do that like once or twice.
I mean, it's
Usually I catch it
Kibetha who just autopiloted the Ogre Mage and Hellhound fight.
Oh yeah. Oh, I
outside
I
the
wanted to smack.
Frankenstein. We were like,
I don't know how much I
"Hmm,
lost
might
to
have
that
been on
blue."
autopilot at that time. Because
I mean,
you're
it-
good at autopiloting, right?
I know.
15 seconds, good.
I know it was close at Vampire, but I mean, after that, she kind of opened a lead, and there really wasn't a good opportunity for me to catch up at that point. She just kind of
Oh yeah.
kept pushing the lead farther and farther ahead, and I wasn't getting the RNG I needed to close the distance.
Yeah, I
So-
got a
And Kibetha,
gold Earth Rod, which was nice.
Which one?
Nice. Earth Rod split, which
Oh, very
on,
nice.
on my splits is not Earth Rod, it is BS, to put politely.
That's quite accurate.
the your Chaos Shrine, your beginning of it was actually pretty good as well, Kibetha, with just the early
Yeah,
2
until
unrunnables.
Marilith, and then that floor was just like, would you like 2 ambushes on a floor where sometimes you don't even get 2 encounters? Oh, thanks, floor. Thank you very much.
Yep.
Yeah, it was like a 2 ambush, 5 encounter in a row. It's pretty bad.
Yeah.
And then Kraken was not nice to you either.
So much fun.
Yeah.
I
The
mean,
worth
I
to
don't-
say, so thanks to that match, now Kibetha's win is actually the fastest time of the tournament. So like
mean-
the very top 4 times, 3 of them are from Kibetha. Isn't that just insane?
I'm playing
Yep.
so badly as well.
Oh come on, you're playing just fine.
If you have 3 of the top 4 times, maybe there is hope for you to take down the grand champion of RNG.
Big Daddy Cruel.
I mean,
But I mean,
even
you have to
that
play.
time-
You have to play well and be lucky
Yeah.
to get times like that. And I mean,
try.
if your opponent gets a time like that, you can't honestly expect to be able to beat them unless you can match them on their execution and RNG. So I mean, credit to
I mean,
you. I
you-
mean, you did
I
what
think-
you had to do to salt
Thank
that away,
you.
and you never let me catch up. I was trying, but you never let me catch up.
I think Linus said that, or double drop. Like, basically, if Kibetha were to pull another 127.22, while not being her PB, she would still beat Cruel on the very same PB pace, because Cruel's PB is like 30 seconds slower. So,
Yeah, the last time
There's
he
that.
PB'd was against me.
true. You just need to PB then. PB
If
back.
he does,
And-
if
and
he
that
does
was
it again, I'm not going to be impressed.
Cool is the
that
king of
PB reason.
PBing in a marathon run, though.
Yeah.
Yes, he is. Yeah, he notably took the world console world record back during the tournament, 30 minutes after I reclaimed it last year.
Wow.
Nice.
So, I mean,
But yeah, that
Thank
was a
you,
very-
everyone.
I'm looking forward
Very
to
impressive race
your matches,
from
Kib,
both.
with him.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I will try and do my best to take on Big Daddy.
You know, and hopefully the scheduling is less of a problem with the
Yeah.
time zones and everything. So,
Well,
I
thank you
wanted
very
to-
much.
Having 2 runners in Europe makes scheduling much easier.
Yes.
Oh yeah, now Euroland is ruling because Poorscythe was the last American chance for getting into the finals. Now it's all up to Europe.
the Great American Hope.
Go team,
tried.
go
Yeah.
team UK.
I mean, once again, the top 4 is 3 are European and 1 American, just like last year.
Well, we have more European runners, I believe.
There's also a lack of a Canadian who entered the tournament.
Well, your fault.
It is my fault, yes.
I mean,
guys, I'm just going to say
also
thanks
said that-
because I have to actually take off pretty
Okay.
quick.
Yeah, I think I need to go and dunk my head in an ice bath or something.
So,
Wow.
thank you.
everyone. I'm sure the
to-
commentary was amazing. Thank you,
Thank you,
Speed.
yeah.
Thank you, everybody. You're all wonderful.
Ditto.
Well, thank you both of you for that quality.
Thank you,
rating.
Poorscythe, who probably should have won.
Yeah. Maybe next year.
He didn't puzzle, that's why.
He's going to have a
Well,
world
it's
record
going to take more than a
anyway.
puzzle to save that.
That would have changed your RNG still.
Thanks,
Right.
guys.
I honestly was considering puzzling before I got to Ice Cave.
You should have
But
always
I
trusted
wasn't. But I didn't even have a bad walk out of Ice Cave, so
Yeah,
I don't think it would have made much of a difference.
that's
But
true.
I was like strongly considering it because I knew how far ahead she was. So it's a shame.
Yeah, that was
Mhm.
quite rough into some spot. I mean, I think it was Double Drop who said it. Like, you were into Waterfall Cavern, and he was like, "Well, that's Poorscythe losing another minute to Kibetha just over that segment, so that might be just as well decided and stuff." So, but he was also believing in your Chaos Shrine comeback, so we were waiting for it, and you almost pulled it out.
I'm still waiting for it. Didn't seem to happen. So I knew that she had to have a very, very bad chaos run, and I had to have a very, very good chaos run, and I knew the chances of that were very, very slim at that point. So, but thanks again, guys, and thanks again to the viewers and restreamers and commentators and Speed Gaming and Feasel and anyone else I forgot. Good luck, Kib, in the next round, and thanks again.
Mhm. Thank you, Poorscythe. All right, so I think we can wrap this up here. Any final thoughts before we get going on the next match?
I would thank Speed Gaming as per usual for the restream setup, for having us being able to commentate, and I'm really looking forward that grand finale. Not sure I'm gonna be able to commentate it, but I have my runner I want to root for. So I'm not gonna say it because I wouldn't be neutral, but I'm really looking forward to it. So I hope this will be the kind of the match we just saw, because that was a high quality one. Both runners did pull on a great run regarding the RNG they had. So yeah, really looking forward to it. And after that, it's all gonna be in a year for the next edition if it gets to be organized. So until then, we're gonna enjoy that grand finale. How about you? Anything to say?
I just want to say it's been a blast with this tournament. It's, we've had a couple of issues, but it's been a lot of fun, and I'm glad we had the turnout. I always want more turnout, but I'm glad we had the turnout, and I'm glad everyone was here for it.
Yeah,
But,
I mean,
as-
this year's season has not that much of dropouts compared to last year, so that's already a plus. Technically speaking, maybe we would have needed a bit more of a commentator poll, like having more people to try and help over that thing, but not everybody knows what to say or what to do when it comes to that. So that could be a thing we could work on next year, maybe. But except for that,
All right.
everything has been a blast.
As Chad is pointing out, Pikmin is coming up next. We've actually got a 5-hour Pikmin relay starting right here, coming up in just a couple minutes. So stay tuned for that.
Nice.
All right, for Leo, I am Leno. Thanks for watching. We will see you next time. Off to Pikmin. Hype!
Hype!